Hello again and welcome to another little chat and a little crafting. So for you, those of you who have seen me before and I've said I am useless at crafting, I am being brave, I'm going to do this in front of the camera. So the first thing I'll say is probably some of you logged on and thought, okay, what is a Bridòg? And a Bridòg is a representation of Bridget. They can be made from rushes, which are these green things that you can find growing in marshy ground. They can be made from straw. I've seen them made from the husks of corn. Lost the word, but from corn, the husks of it. I've also seen them made from material, usually white material, where they get a square, get the centre bit, put some stuffing in, then. But I'm going to. There's also a blog to go along with this. So in the blog, at the bottom, there will be some resources where if you don't want to make it the way I'm going to do it, then you can look to see how you can make it in other ways. As I say, there is straw, there are corn husks, and there is the material version. But I'm sticking today with rushes because, as far as I'm aware, rushes are probably the ones that were used the longest because the UK, Ireland in particular, is very moist. We have a lot of rain, so we tend to have a lot of damp areas. So rushes are actually really easy to find. So you need to get a bundle of them like that, and then you need a smaller bundle. So I'm just trying to pick them all up. So you need a larger bundle and a smaller bundle, like that. So with the larger bundle, what you're going to do is make sure they're all round about the right. So just tap them gently on a flat surface to get them all relatively one length there. And then you're going to look to see, now obviously because these I haven't trimmed them, so I'm just looking to see how far. Just did another short one, just going to take that out to put that in the other pile, to see how far these all go up before they start getting thinner at the ends. So around about there, and that's roughly where I'm literally just going to bend down like that. So you'll see you have some straggly bits here, but that's fine, don't worry, not an issue. And then you're going to get some yarn. Now colours associated with Bridget, because this, as I say, is a representation of her. Colours that are associated with her are red, white, green and black. So choose one or a combination of those. So if you wanted to do like a braid, you could do 3 colours. I'm just going to use one, and I've chosen red. So I'm literally going to, just around that top bit where I've done that bend, I'm going to wrap the yarn round. And what I have found in previous years is that you actually need to do this bit really tight, because when these reeds dry out, they shrink a bit. So if you don't do this bit really tight, then the whole thing sort of like gets a bit wobbly and a bit messy as the year goes on. So do this bit really tight, like that. And this is making the Bridog's head. So I'm just going to cut that bit of yarn. Should have got sharper scissors. And sorry, you're not going to see this bit because I need to actually put it down so that I can tie this knot really tight and make sure that I keep all of this as tight as I possibly can. I will show you as soon as I have done this knot. There we go. And I'm just going to trim off those ends a bit. I'll do them more neatly when I've got a sharper pair of scissors. But yeah, so you're going to end up with that so far. Yep. And then what you're going to do is trim off these bits. So you've got your flat bit that you made right at the beginning, and you need to trim off these ends, these straggly ends, so that you've got a nice flat base. Like that. So now you're going to put this aside for a second, because you're going to come to your smaller bundle. And these are going to be your Bridog's Bridog arms. So again, flatten one end so that you've got all of them as close to one length as possible. And then what you're going to do is get your yarn again, and you are going to wrap round one end like that. And again, make sure this is extremely tight. Just going to come around there again. That's it. Okay, and again, sorry, going out of shot, just while I do that knot on that side. Getting there. Right, so you've got that, and I'm just going to trim those ends like that. And then, very technical, as you can see, you turn it around and straighten up like that. And your idea is that your arms should be about the same length as your body. So that's where we're going to trim all of that off. Like that. Get your yarn again and wrap tightly around that end. So the trick I have found is making sure that they are really tight, because this is going to be with you for a whole year. That's the idea of it. Like that. There we go. Let's just see if I can. So that's what you have when you've done both ends. So going back to your first bit, now what you're going to do is you're going to separate the bottom bit. So below where you've done, so you've got your bend, you've got your tie, so that's the head. So below that tie, you're going to separate off roughly half to half of your reeds, rushes, straw, and then get your arm bit and insert that, and then push it up as high as you can to your neck bit. Make sure it's roughly equal. like that. Okay, and then we're back to the arm. Because this time you're going to wrap round underneath the arms, making her waist, but two, making sure that the arms stay in place. That's the idea of this bit. Like that. Make sure it's nice and tight. Sorry, again, doing the knot out of camera, because I do need to make sure that she stays nice and firm. Just try that. Like that. And there is your Bridog. Right? And you can just leave her like this. You can make her a little shawl, again in one of her colours that can go around her shoulders. You can make her a little skirt if you wanted to. The other thing I've seen people do is get ribbons and do like a bodice, so like a cross. I'll try and show you with this. So you come around there, around there, around there. So you make like a cross going around her. Like that. That's not too good, is it? But yeah, you get the idea. As I said, I'm not very good at crafting. I tend to, if I do anything, a couple of years ago, I actually crocheted a little red shawl. Dad had put that round her. Other than that, I tend to leave her like this. Bridget, for me, is very down to earth, very straightforward, no nonsense. So yeah, if it's not useful, don't bother type of girl. So yeah, I tend to leave my Bridogs like this. So now you've done this, what do you do with it? So the tradition of them, there are several if you go to Ducas, i.e. So you'll find that in some areas they actually make a larger one. I'm not quite sure what of, because that doesn't say. And then they parade her through the villages. This is what they used to do, because the Ducas, i.e. was collected in the late 1930s and early 1940s to try and capture the folklore before it vanished. So it's the schools collection, known as the schools collection. So it doesn't actually, because they were collecting them from children, the children didn't say what they were made from, but they said about these models, if you like, effigies that were made, the Bridog, and then they were carried around the villages and they were taken into each house to bring blessings and good fortune on that house for the coming year. Then there are also the mentions of these being made individually by the family each year, and they are traditionally placed near the hearth in the centre of the home, and they are again to bring blessings to the house. And what they did with the ones from the previous year depended again on the area. So some of them were buried on the land, some of them were burnt on the fire, which they'd been beside all year. Others of them were actually put up in the rafters of the houses or up in the chimney to continue that blessing. But the idea is that you place her somewhere central. So you could have her on your altar. You could have her, I like mine either just behind me here, on this one because this is quite central in our house. Or I have got a shelf in my kitchen. So some years I've put one on my kitchen shelf. But the idea is that she's somewhere that you see her, that you communicate with her on a daily basis, because the idea is that she's bringing blessings into you and into your home and into your family for the coming year. Also, I saw on Dukas that some of them were awoken. They didn't use that term. They just said that the Bridog had prayers said over her, which to me means that she was awoken. She was because this is just representation. So this needs to know what it is. So to me, it's an awakening. It's a spiritual awakening to let this know that this is why I've made her, that she is my Bridog, that she's my representation of Bridget, to stay with us for the coming year. So you can say a prayer. There are lots available. If you do a search, if you just put in a Bridget, usually St. Bridget's blessing, but if you just type in St. Bridget's blessing, you will get loads. On the blog, I have put one which I quite like because it's quite nice and simple. I will find it. Hold on. So this is the one I've put on the blog. May Bridget bless this house wherein you dwell. Bless this fireside, every wall and door. Bless every heart that beats beneath its roof. Bless every hand that toils to bring it joy. Bless every foot that walks its portals through. May Bridget bless the house that shelters you. See, I quite like that's why I put it on the blog, because it's quite simple and it's to the point and it's not flowery, which to me represents Bridget perfectly, because as I said, to me she's a very down-to-earth girl. She doesn't like bells and whistles. If it's not useful, maybe it's not, it can't be used straight away, not in the least bit interested. So yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed coming along with me to make my Bridog for the coming year. Do let me know in the comments if you decide to make one and what you decide to use. And yeah, I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.